Can you explain to us how online disinformation played a role in the riots of the past week in the UK?
Well, in the immediate aftermath of the terrible attack in Southport, what we saw was people rushing, not to try and work out the truth, not to come together and say how terrible this was, but to deliberately spread lies in order to target particular communities. And we see this happen, do we not, after every atrocity or tragedy these days, that people are immediately rushing out to blame it on Jews or LGBTQ plus people, or in this instance, migrants, Muslims in particular. And so we saw not only a rush of people seeking to weaponize this moment, but more crucially, when normal people went to those platforms to try and work out what on earth was going on, and this, it's a normal thing that we do these days, is when something terrible happens, we go to social media. Social media algorithms were selecting disinformation and making sure they were at the top of feeds. Why? Because they've worked out, as have bad actors, that disinformation gets disproportionate engagement. Sure. And therefore they amplify. It keeps people on those platforms arguing there, looking for the truth, something that on social media you're very unlikely to find.
You say, after the killings of the girls, they rushed to spread this disinformation. Do we know where they are? Are we talking about people or groups in the UK, or were there foreign state actors who maybe are playing a role in this?
Look, it's almost certain that countries like Russia and China, but Russia in particular, were rushing in to fill that vacuum of information when we were trying to work out what had happened. And when the police were still dealing with grievously harmed children, that in those moments we saw hostile states trying to weaponize the moment, but we also saw domestic bad actors. We saw people that are well-known, far-right liars, the kind of people that will target any community if they have a chance, white supremacists, anti-migration activists, and we saw them rushing in with their lies as usual, saying it was a Muslim, and they said initially it was a Muslim asylum seeker. Some of those people, and of course X is a particularly bad platform for this, the platform formerly known as Twitter. But what we saw was some of those people who had been banned by X, who Elon Musk then let back on when he took over the platform. They, of course, had been banned for being super spreaders of hate-filled disinformation. Now that they're back on the platform, not only have they been given their megaphone back, but actually their megaphone has been turbocharged. And we saw as well the proprietor of that platform, Mr. Musk himself, spreading disinformation, in fact suggesting that Britain is on the brink of a civil war, which is preposterous. This isn't a civil war. This is just a bunch of drunken lunatics running around trying to have some fun by taking advantage of this moment.
You advise governments on how to counter hate speech. What advice would you give the UK government now?
Well, the same advice I'd give to the European Union right now, which is use the powers you've just given yourselves. Both the United Kingdom and the European Union in the past year have passed legislation, the Digital Services Act in the EU, and my team in Brussels is talking to the Commission and to the regulators out there on a regular basis, and to the British Parliament, which passed the Online Safety Act in October 2023. Use the powers you've got. Hold these companies accountable. You legislated because you recognized there was a problem. And it's important that in this moment, I know that Britain has left the European Union, but I would hope that the Commission, the United Kingdom are talking to each other, saying, between us, what powers do we have? And how can we help the United Kingdom deal with this moment of great potential harm?
Yeah, and you say that on a day that a U.S. federal court ruled that Google is an illegal monopoly and has abused its power on the markets that it monopolizes, according to the court. Let me just ask you, with that in mind, what about viewers and consumers of social media content? What advice do you have for them?
Social media is a wonderful platform for entertainment and connecting with people you already know. It's not a very good platform for learning information about something that's happening. And if you take action based on information that you get from social media, you might, like these people here, find yourself in a jail cell eventually. Because the truth is that disinformation spreads disproportionately quickly on social media. It is a dangerous place to try and get good information from. And the best thing that we can do is turn to legitimate sources of news, people that have journalistic standards, that have to abide by negligence law, by defamation law, and everything else, like your own station.
Yeah, but we're told constantly, especially on social media, that the mainstream media or the journalists, traditional gatekeepers, are not trustworthy. That's a big. Obviously, we know it's not true, but a lot of people believe it. I got 20 seconds. Do you see this situation getting better or worse in the short term?
Look, I think that this is going to spur a lot of action from those regulators who have these new powers. And I very much hope to see them take action. The truth is that this is a disaster for social media companies because not only have they this time done something, this isn't just about something where there's a mild connection to offline harm. There is a very specific connection. The people out there who are rioting have been lied to by algorithms and by bad actors on social media platforms and are driven now to attacking police, attacking our communities, attacking Muslim businesses, attacking the fabric of the nation.